Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pep Talks with Steve Lally. Say hello, Steve.
Hi, everybody. I'm just so thrilled to be here with Eddie. Eddie's in a great mood today, and we're going to have a wonderful podcast.
You know, I was going to take a swim today because part of mental health and the President's Physical Fitness Council. By the way, did you know the President's Physical Fitness Council is dead? Anyway, the President's Physical Fitness Council. Do you remember when there was actually a President's Physical Fitness Council? Like they had, they were figureheads, but they were guys or gals, guys and gals, guys, gals, animals, who would say things like, "It's the young man of today should run and jog and swim and eat his vegetables and meat and all that." You know what I mean?
I think this might be before my time. Did Reagan have one of those?
They've been around for a long time. I think they even had him Obama. I think under Trump, they were shot, the President Physical Fitness Council. There was this article, I forget who did it. I don't know if it was the Fire and Fury guy, but they were talking about Trump's diet where he just has huge pieces of cake with ice cream. And he is the quintessential, what is that, despot or Henry VIII type character where he's just like eating like crazy. And
King Herod.
And then he finishes like he wipes his... Don't start with the Jewish thing. I said King Henry VIII, and you go King Herod?
Yeah, he was a disgusting slob.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Easy.
Look, I love Purim. Anyway, so I was supposed to take a swim today, folks, and good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. If you're watching it on Facebook Live in Southern California and in the Pacific Time Zone, it is about 4:40, and the weather has been lovely here, meaning it's not too hot. It's been really nice. I'm very sensitive to the weather. Very sensitive to the weather. Hot weather can trigger panic attacks with me.
That's why he lives in the valley.
I know, and I live in the valley, which is very hot, but it's been very nice lately. So I go out, and the only thing that can trigger panic attacks with me now is lack of money, fear of violence, intimacy, and getting up. But anyway, I was supposed to go for a swim today, and I went to go for a swim. And I had forgotten my swim goggles, and it was in a gym. I forgot my swim goggles, and I forgot my flip-flops, and God knows what is on the floors of these gyms, right? I don't want to get a staph infection.
Man, for a guy who talks about, preparing for the end of times, this is not...
I don't prepare for the end of times. I know the end of times are coming, but I don't even have a can good. I have no can. I have some canned goods, vegan.
Do you have a can opener? That's the main thing.
Yes,
okay.
Of course I have a can opener, but I don't stock for the apocalypse. To me, it's going to be who would want to survive the apocalypse, right? I'm going to throw myself, on a broadsword. What are you going to do for the apocalypse?
I'm going to try to get a job with the guy on the front of the Jeep who's telling jokes to the Overlord. I'm going to try to have that job. Do you know who that's going to be? I'm wondering if you have an in.
I don't know what you're talking about. Explain what you're talking about. Your
job, your future job after when Beyond Thunderdome, when it all goes down.
Where in Beyond Thunderdome, if anybody saw this little movie by Chris Nolan, and how about a hand for Chris Nolan? Fuck him, Chris Nolan.
Was it really Chris Nolan who did that movie? Man, you got all kinds of fucked up facts at your fingertips.
You didn't know Christopher Nolan did
no.
The last Mad Max movie?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, Chris Nolan.
I knew David Fincher did the third Alien, but I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how that relates to you didn't know that Christopher Nolan did the last Mad Max, but David Fincher did the third Alien. I didn't know that Fincher did the third Alien, and I thought Fincher was a type of bird. And a beautiful little bird. Beautiful little bird. Are you a bird person?
I mean, yeah, I like sparrows. Sparrows are I dig sparrows. Yeah,
I like
time.
blue. I like blue.
Blue jays?
Bluebirds. Blue jays are they're a little aggressive, and they eat. They seem to aggressively eat things. Do you know what I mean? I think they're kind of a terror, the blue jays. But the blue birds that are here in L.A., absolutely gorgeous. And I think that'll lead into our first commercial. By the way, just so you know, I don't want anybody to get confused that we're talking about bluebirds. The apocalypse, the end of our society, the end of America is coming with a financial collapse. We're going to be reading a little bit from a Chris Hedges article today. And actually, let me pull that article up because it's an article I shared on Twitter and Facebook yesterday, and it got a lot of...
While Eddie's pulling that up, I would like to say that he has a bluebird in his heart that's trying to get out, and he pours whiskey on it and throws beer bottles at it and says, "Shut up down there. What are you trying to fuck up my book sales in Europe?"
The name of the article by Chris Hedges is called "The Coming Collapse," and I'm just going to read a little bit of it. And Steve read this article, and here it is. I'm going to read it quickly. The Trump administration did not rise prima facie like Venus on a half shell from the sea. Donald Trump is the result of a long process of political, cultural, and social decay. He is a product of our failed democracy. The longer we perpetuate the fiction that we live in a functioning democracy, that Trump and the political mutations around him are somehow an aberrant deviation that can be vanquished in the next election, the more we will hurtle toward tyranny. The problem is not Trump. It is a political system dominated by corporate power and the mandarins of the two major political parties in which we don't count. We will wrest back political control by dismantling the corporate state. And this means massive and sustained civil disobedience like that demonstrated by teachers around the country this year. If we do not stand up, we will enter a new dark age. The Democratic Party, which helped build our system of inverted totalitarianism, which means that we are, I've read Hedges before, and that term inverted totalitarianism means it isn't this totalitarianism enforced, like a Nazi-type police state, even though we do live in a police state. It's enforced by...
convincing you should give up your control.
Convincing
you should give up your own freedom.
Inverted totalitarianism is kind of the propaganda, the soft. It's kind of it's like the Brave New World instead of, what was the other dystopian novel?
George Orwell.
What was the name
1984.
of it? 1984. It's Brave New World over 1984. We are distracted by ourselves to death. The media is... Anyway, so the Democratic Party, which helped build our system of inverted totalitarianism, is once again held up by many on the left as the savior. Yet the party steadfastly refuses to address the social inequality that led to the election of Trump and the insurgency by Bernie Sanders. It is deaf, dumb, and blind to the very real economic suffering that plagues over half the country. It will not fight to pay workers a living wage. It will not defy the pharmaceutical and insurance industries to provide Medicare for all. It will not curb the voracious appetite of the military that is disemboweling the country and promoting the prosecution of futile and costly foreign wars. It will not restore our lost civil liberties, including the right to privacy, freedom from government surveillance, and due process. It will not get corporate and dark money out of politics. It will not demilitarize our police and reform a prison system that has 25% of the world's prisoners, although the United States has only 5% of the world's population. It plays to the margins, especially in election seasons, refusing to address substantive political and social problems, and instead focusing on narrow cultural issues like gay rights, abortion, and gun control in our peculiar species of anti-politics. This is a doomed tactic, but one that is understandable. The leadership of the party, the Clintons, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Tom Perez, are creations of corporate America. In an open and democratic political process, one not dominated by party elites and corporate money, these people would not hold political power. They know this. They would rather implode the entire system than give up their positions of privilege. And that, I fear, is what will happen. The idea that the Democratic Party is in any way a bulwark against despotism defies the last 3 decades of its political activity. It's the guarantor of despotism. Trump has tapped into the hatred that huge segments of the American public have for a political and economic system that has betrayed them. It may be inept, degenerate, dishonest. He may be inept, degenerate, dishonest, and a narcissist, but he adeptly ridicules the system they despise. His cruel and demeaning taunts directed at government agencies, laws, and the established elites resonate with people for whom these agencies, laws, and elites have become hostile forces, and for many who see no shift in the political landscape to alleviate their suffering. Trump's cruelty and invective are at least cathartic. Trump, like all despots, has no ethical core. He chooses his allies and appointees based on their personal loyalty and fawning obsequiousness to him. He will sell anyone out. He is corrupt, amassing money for himself. He made $40 million from his Washington, D.C. hotel alone last year and his corporate allies. He is dismantling government institutions that once provided some regulation and oversight. He is an enemy of the open society. This makes him dangerous. His turbocharged assault on the last vestiges of democratic institutions and norms means there will soon be nothing, even in name, to protect us from corporate totalitarianism. But the warnings from the architects of our failed democracy against creeping fascism, Madeleine Albright among them, are risible. They show how disconnected the elites have become from the zeitgeist. None of these elites have credibility. They built the edifice of lies, deceit, and corporate pillage that made Trump possible. And the more Trump demeans these elites and the more they cry out like Cassandras, the more he salvages his disastrous presidency and enables the kleptocrats pillaging the country as it swiftly disintegrates. The press is one of the principal pillars of Trump's despotism. It chatters endlessly like 18th century courtiers at the court of...
That's awesome. Sorry.
Keep going. The press, it chatters endlessly like 18th century courtiers at the court of Versailles about the foibles of the monarch while the peasants lack bread. It drones on and on and on about empty topics such as Russian meddling and a payoff to a porn actress that have nothing to do with the daily hell that for many defines life in America. The press refuses to critique or investigate the abuses by corporate power, which has destroyed our democracy and economy and orchestrated the largest transfer of wealth upward in American history. The corporate press is a decayed relic. Are you listening, CNN? MSNBC and Fox News is a joke, and all CBS, NBC, all of you. The corporate press is a decayed relic that in exchange for money and access committed cultural suicide. And when Trump attacks it over fake news, he expresses once again the deep hatred of all those the press ignores. The press worships the idol of Mammon as slavishly as Trump does. It loves the reality show presidency. Yeah, the press loves the reality show presidency. The press, especially the cable news shows, keeps the lights on and the cameras rolling so viewers will be glued to a 21st century version of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligara.
Gosh, that's great.
It is good for ratings. It is good for profits, but it accelerates the decline. And we're going to read some more from it.
Now it's time for a commercial.
It's time for a commercial.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that leads into a commercial.
Better than dystopian poetry is basically what that is.
Absolutely.
Really,
absolutely. And our first commercial, this is a great sponsor of the show. As you can imagine, it's hard to get sponsors of a show that is this radical. And the Chatsworth Actors Guild is an absolute, thank you, Chatsworth Actors Guild, for believing in this show. And let me read you this. Sorry, Chatsworth Actors Guild. Do you feel a love for acting deep inside yourself? Have you ever performed live in front of a webcam or one-way mirror? Have you ever wondered how to turn, quote, 7 minutes heaven 7 minutes in heaven into a career. Join the fun at the Chatsworth Actors Guild and let the world of acting be spread open for you. CAG member benefits include CAG membership tote bag, help getting your demo reel onto the dark web, doctors who know about butt stuff, access to over 130 hours of Tony Robbins self-help seminars. Listen, if you have dreams of becoming a celebrity actor, you should know it's not easy. It takes dedication, talent, and several hours in the back of a windowless panel van where a couple of guys from Home Depot film you with flip phones as you do. What we in Hollywood call eating a Vaseline sandwich. Take it from me, you don't want to eat that sandwich alone. Join Chatsworth Actors Guild today, CAG, and let the acting begin.
And I would like to say, by the way, that the Chatsworth Actors Guild had been accused of being a Russian fake ad campaign put on progressive media like ours to sway people to vote for Trump. And I want to let you know I belonged to the Chatsworth Actors Group.
This is a great example of a Chatsworth Actors Guild graduate, Steve Lawley, who has lived in tents,
Yes.
RVs, and
alleys,
and right now he's currently living inside of a very large man's ass, and it's a roomy, spacious 2-bedroom ass, and he is absolutely a great member of the Chatsworth Actors Guild.
Chatsworth Actors Guild. That's a guild that's worth a chat.
And also, by the way, what we do every week is we read, we listen to phone messages left to us. And as I've said before, you can leave me and Steve Pep Talks a message, a comment, anything you want to leave on the phone. And the number is 424-262-0904. That's 424-262-0904 to talk to the podcast. And here's a message this week from Dara. Here we go. And listen up.
Hi, this is Dara calling again. I'm doing the LA Times word jumble, and the letters are N-A-D-E-A-G. 6-letter word, N-A-D-E-A-G. It's impossible. I was thinking of just calling the Times to report the problem, but I think that the edible marijuana that I ate 2.5 hours ago also may be a factor. N-A-D-E-A-G. Thank you. Bye.
Great call. Great call. And I just want to point out, and I don't know if Darren knew this or not, but edible marijuana and the word jumble are actually banned in I think it's about 10 states. Now, you can do the word jumble on psilocybin. You can do it on organic mescaline. And I think...
Stevia?
Say that again?
Stevia?
Stevia is a sweetener.
Not if it's not organic.
What is it?
It's a stimulant. It's legal. With
Oxycontin and a word jumble you're not supposed to do. You can do Oxy and Sudoku. You can do Oxy and Sudoku.
In the state of California.
So anyway, in the state of California, you can do a word jumble and edible. And Dara, those letters you gave me, the word you were looking for is agenda. But thank you for the call, and keep up the good work.
That was the best call we've had.
Yeah, that was a great call. That was a great call. And the word jumbles and edible marijuana are a difficult thing, to do. So anyway, how has this week been for you? You have a show you want to promote.
Yeah, I'm going to be at the Long Beach Wrigley Comedy Chew on Saturday night.
God, that doesn't sound
me
like good. It just doesn't sound. It doesn't sound good on the Comedy Chew. You know?
Yeah.
Why? Oh, because it's Wrigley.
Wrigley, yes. Wrigley's the neighborhood in Long Beach.
What do you mean?
There's a neighborhood in Long Beach called Wrigley.
Oh, really?
And
Is there a gum factory
there's
there?
two guys who, no, I don't know. Maybe
I'm just wondering why
I have
the neighborhood's called Wrigley.
No fucking idea. But they create a comedy show in the neighborhood, and it's free for everybody who comes. And they feed them, and they feed everybody, and it's free. And then they have comedy, and they pay the comics, and it's a once-a-month thing.
And they feed everybody?
Yeah.
For free?
Yeah.
Ah, this is great.
It's not vegan, though, so, I would have invited you.
Yeah, well, Long Beach is a ways away.
It's a ways away.
But it's nice over there, right? It's by the...
it's nice. It's just, for me, it's nice to not be in front of a bunch of other fucking comics and just to be in front of a real audience that came to see comedy and not a bunch of people who just decided in the past year that now they have a picture of themselves at the open mic, the Laugh Factory. And there's 70 of them, at the Nerd Melt on fucking whatever the fuck it's called, And I get to go out.
About open mics. I left that world.
No.
Okay.
The open mics aren't just like that. All shows are like that now.
What?
It's fucking Soylent Green.
What is like that?
You're
now?
removed from that world.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're removed.
What?
Thank God you're removed from that world.
What is it like now?
I should take you. down.
I would
there.
go one night. But what is it like now? There?
It's like you remember like Grapes of Wrath, Soylent Green.
The Jodes.
You know what happened was I think 10 years of Comedy Central. They put on so many fucking horrible comedians that people who weren't funny watched it and went, because, I watched Carlin and went, I'm scared of this. I don't know if I can do this. I think these people watched Comedy Central and they went, oh, no, I think I can do that. So now there's people who aren't funny who are believing they're going to be, so they're all.
That's too bad because it waters down what is funny. And audiences, what happens too when the great majority of comedians are not funny is that audiences get trained to smile and laugh at unfunny things, right? But luckily there are a lot of good comedians too out there. And they see the good comedians and they go, oh, wait, this is good.
Well, and some of those comics, who knows who will be great that comes out of that. You never know who's going to be a great, maybe some shitty comic who's just starting out will end up being, Richard Pryor or something. I don't know. But But what disturbs me is audiences laugh hard at polite humor. That bothers me.
At polite humor?
Like
what do you
really
mean? Describe this. What do you mean by polite
politically
humor?
correct, I can't explain it. You just have to be
Well, you
in front
have
of
to
it.
because you...
John Mulaney? I don't know. I mean...
He is polite. John is polite. He's considered a brilliant writer. The industry loves John. They consider him a brilliant writer. He's a nice guy. I know John. But I know what you mean though. By it's kind of it's like when I read it. I perform a lot at the Comedy Store. That's my regular club, and it's a great club. But sometimes the audience is like I'll get up there and I'll say. I'll say stuff like, well, it's the end of days, folks, and no reaction at all. Like, I know that you probably shouldn't, tell people your life is over in a comedy club, especially on a Saturday night when they're out trying to enjoy themselves and you're saying, hey, folks, I don't know if you know, but we're just a financial collapse away from just the blood running in the streets, and you guys are just on Netflix watching Ozark. I get nothing from a lot of people.
You know what was even better was the night I was there with you where it was dead. And
you went on
and you went on and you were like Rain Man, for 5 minutes you were spontaneously trying to reconstruct why nobody came to the club or do people want to stay home on a Wednesday, and it was one of the most beautiful. People weren't laughing, but I was in the back losing it because I first of all I knew that was all unplanned and you were really trying to sort that out.
Yeah, why weren't people here on a Wednesday?
I don't know, but the fact that you weren't, other comics are going up reciting shit and you're going up doing that.
Yeah.
That to me was great. To me, that's great. I don't need to hear the bloods running in the streets. And, I like the bloods running in the streets, but a third of it, I can't handle the whole thing being the blood running in the streets. It's too much.
Is it?
Yeah, it's too much for me.
And you're a guy who is sympathetic with it.
Yeah, I am. Cut the throat and paint on the wall with the blood. Yeah, I am sympathetic with it. I dig it. Just not the whole thing. But anyway, yeah, not. Comedy Store's a good place to do that, though. You can't do that at the Improv, right? I mean, you can't.
You could do it wherever you want. I mean, I've done it at the Improv. I mean, I don't know if you could do it at the Laugh Factory. We're talking about L.A. comedy clubs now, and the Comedy Store is the best of them, that's for sure. I want to read a little more from this Hedges thing.
Oh, man.
Okay. but it accelerates the decline. His last thing was about the press, just fucking being courtesans, mandarins to this shit, and it's good for their ratings. And he goes, all this will soon be compounded by financial collapse. Wall Street banks have been handed $16 trillion in bailouts and other subsidies by the Federal Reserve and Congress at nearly 0% interest since the 2008 financial collapse. They have used this money, as well as the money saved through the huge tax cuts imposed last year, to buy back their own stock, raising the compensation and bonuses of their managers, and thrusting the society deeper into untenable debt peonage. Sheldon Adelson's casino operations alone got a $670 million tax break. Adelson was a big supporter of Trump. Under the 2017 legislation, the ratio of CEO to worker pay now averages 339 to 1, with the highest gap approaching 5,000 to 1. The circular use of money to make and hoard money is what Karl Marx called fictitious capital. The steady increase in public debt, corporate debt, credit card debt, and student loan debt will ultimately lead, as Nomi Prins writes, to a, quote, tipping point when money coming in to furnish that debt or available to borrow simply won't cover the interest payments. Then debt bubbles will pop, beginning with higher yielding bonds. And by the way, this makes me want to see the movie I Feel Pretty by Amy Schumer.
We tried for so many weeks to remember.
Doesn't what I'm reading to you make you want to go see I Feel Pretty, the Amy Schumer vehicle? And that's what people are doing. They are going to see I Feel Pretty while this fucking country collapses.
Nobody saw that movie. It was it was a fucking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you saw the movie. I thought that's what people go see. They're like, I want to go see the Amy Schumer movie. While
it's a giant debt bubble. That's all it fucking is. That movie's like that.
Do you understand the debt bubble that Hedges is talking about?
Kinda.
You don't.
When when the money that's coming in is no longer sufficient to cover the interest on that money. Yeah, that's when it's all shit's gonna violently. It's gonna be irreparable. Is that what? That's what? Am I correctly? Do you think
I think so.
Right. You don't even entirely
I don't
understand
financial stuff that well. I just know I don't have a lot of money in my bank account. An economy reliant on debt for its growth causes our interest rate to jump to 28% when we are late on a credit card payment. I do have that. It is why our wages are stagnant or have declined in real terms. If we earned a sustainable income, we would not have to borrow money to survive. It's why a university education, houses, medical bills, and utilities cost so much. The system is designed so we can never free ourselves from debt. Go see I Feel Pretty.
Don't you think, though, that is there a hopeful thing that the society will get over its pretense with these boutique fucking, what did he call it? The 18th century courtesans chattering about,
mandarins, courtisans,
whatever,
little sycophants who they just do the, they want access to the king. That's why they're called court. They want access to the court. They want to be in the court. They want to be in the spotlight, and they have they don't call out the Pentagon. They don't call out Wall Street. They don't call out the banks.
No.
The real thing that's fucking us.
Now, how do we get them? That's what I want to know.
I want you know what? Well, this is getting too heavy. Let's read another. We have a great sponsors.
I'll read it.
Yes, I know. We have great sponsors, and this one is Discount Decal Depot. And they've been a great, great friend of the show, even though we attack the big seats of power.
Discount Decal Depot is your number one shop for Pro-America stickers for your automobile.
Pro-America!
Pro-America!
Yeah!
In support of the 2018 primaries, Discount Decal Depot is running a special promotion of 3% off all Ted Cruz quote-inspired tailgate decals. Did you know that, Eddie?
I have a Ted Cruz decal that I use to clean up some of the cat shit that gets out of the box. But go ahead.
We all know Ted Cruz. He's the poet laureate of the Republican Party. And he looks a little like Grandpa Munster.
Yeah, it looks like they did something to his skin.
He's a strange
Doesn't it? It looks like
guy.
they took a syringe This is what we're down to in this country. If we didn't have I Feel Pretty, we'd have nothing. Do you understand me? If we didn't have that Schumer movie, we'd have nothing.
And La La Land.
What about And La La Land?
And now you can share some of Ted Cruz's most inspiring quotes by plastering them across your tailgate in 7-inch tail letters or cleaning up cat shit on your kitchen floor. Show those blue state pussies that you are tough on crime by quoting the guy who tried to sue Dr. Seuss. Let those snowflakes know where you stand on major issues like stopping bad things and octopus bites. If you order now, we will also throw in 1 3-foot decal of Ted Cruz's face, perfect for the hood of any utility vehicle. When those blue wave eras see Ted Cruz's weird, flaccid, baloney mouth grin in the rearview mirror, they will know you stand for eating bacon off the barrel of a smoking hot AR-15 while cowering from even the slightest confrontation.
Do that again, that whole paragraph.
When the blue wavers.
Come on,
you're
dude.
fucking me up. I did it okay.
Come on, do the... I'm sorry, decal. I'm sorry. This is a sponsor, and I want to apologize. Steve Lally did not see I Feel Pretty, and that's why he's having problems with this. Go ahead.
When those blue wavers see Ted Cruz's weird, flaccid, baloney mouth grin and baloney. It's not. Never mind. When the
balloon. It's balloon, asshole. I'm so...
When the blue wavers see Ted Cruz's weird, flaccid, baloney mouth grin in their rearview mirror, they will know you stand for eating bacon off the barrel of a smoking hot AR-15 while cowering from even the slightest confrontation. Nothing says I stand with our government like plastering the soapy-eyed visage of the Zodiac killer, Ted Cruz, across the hood of your truck. Discount Decal Depot for all your pro-America card decal needs.
That's great. I love that Discount Decal Depot puts out very specific politicians like Ted Cruz, and look for the Paul Ryan stickers coming out soon because he's retiring, and what a great man Paul Ryan was. Just a great man. Just, and these are people who, their souls were born in hell. They were born in hell. They're not going to hell. Born in hell, just no soul, no heart. But thank you, Steve.
Thank you,
for reading
Eddie
that.
and Discount Decal. And Born in Hell could be a good campaign for a comedy title for a comedy album or a Discount Decal Depot.
Do you mind that we'll finish the Hedges article?
No,
it's heavy, but I think it's just
hearing
good
you
that
read
people
it.
hear it.
Hearing you read it gives me hope.
However, so this is Prince. Okay, however, the next financial crash. And thank you for listening to the podcast. And I'm sorry it's not a podcast that talks about how funny, movies are or, talks about how to fix a radio, to distract you from the fact that America is crumbling. I don't distract. I put your nose in it. Because so many of you are just like, I'm going to watch Netflix. I'm going to watch Netflix and take this pill. Not that I don't do that. By the way, it is funny that I come at people for exactly the
same things
I
that
do.
you do.
However, the next financial crash, as Prinz points out in her book, Collusion, How Central Bankers Rigged the World, get that book, won't be like the last one. This is because, as she says, there is no plan B. Good movie, Plan B. No, it wasn't. I didn't see it. And I don't even know if it was a movie.
It wasn't.
I just know I don't have a plan B. I said to myself, I'm 59. I said to myself, Eddie, give yourself to your 80 to make it in show business.
That was back when you were 20.
And then I might teach. Okay, at 80. Or take the SATs when I'm 80. But I'm not. Okay. So this is because, as she says, there is no plan B. Interest rates can't go any lower. There has been no growth in the real economy. The next time, there will be no way out. Once the economy crashes and the rage across the country explodes into a firestorm, the political freaks will appear, ones that will make Trump look sagacious and benign. And so to quote Vladimir Lenin, what must be done? And now here is Hedges answer to what do we do in this horrible circumstance. The next financial collapse will be fucking horrific. People will have no money, and there'll be rage across the country. He says we must invest our energy in building a parallel popular institutions to protect ourselves and to pit power against power. These parallel institutions, including unions. Remember unions? You remember them? The teachers have gone on strike. We need fucking unions. Community development organizations. We need community. Local currencies. That one is new to me. Can I print out currencies? Local currencies. Alternative political parties. We need alternative political parties, not the fucking Democrats and Republicans. And food cooperatives. We will have to be constructed town by town. The elites in a time of distress will retreat to their gated compounds and leave us to fend for ourselves. Steve is already fending for himself. Basic services from garbage collection to public transportation. Check this out. Basic services from garbage collection to public transportation, food distribution, and healthcare will collapse. See Venezuela. See Venezuela for what this country is going to look like. Massive unemployment and underemployment, triggering social unrest, will be dealt with not through government job creation, but the brutality of militarized police and a complete suspension of civil liberties. Already goes on. Critics of the system, already pushed to the margins, will be silenced and attacked as enemies of the state. The last vestiges of labor unions will be targeted for abolition, a process that will soon be accelerated given the expected ruling in a case before the Supreme Court that will cripple the ability of public sector unions to represent workers. That's a case before the Supreme Court now. The dollar will stop being the world's reserve currency, causing a steep devaluation. Banks will close, and global warming will extract heavier and heavier costs, especially on the coastal populations, farming, and the infrastructure, costs that the depleted state will be unable to address. The corporate press, like the ruling elites, will go from burlesque to absurdism. Its rhetoric so patently fictitious, it will, as in all totalitarian states, be unmoored from reality. The media outlets will all sound as fatuous as Trump. And to quote W.H. Auden, the little children will die in the streets. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please see Amy Schumer's I Feel Pretty. Let me finish. As a foreign correspondent, I covered collapsed societies, including the former Yugoslavia. It is impossible for any doomed population to grasp how fragile the decayed financial, social, and political system is on the eve of implosion. All the harbingers of collapse are visible. Crumbling infrastructure. We have it. I've seen it all over. Chronic underemployment and unemployment. Everybody knows that's the case. The indiscriminate use of lethal force by police, political paralysis and stagnation, an economy built on the scaffolding of debt, nihilistic mass shootings in schools, universities, workplaces, malls, concert venues, and movie theaters, opioid overdoses that kills some 64,000 people a year, an epidemic of suicides, unsustainable military expansion, gambling as a desperate tool of economic development and government revenue. That just happened with sports gambling. The capture of power by a tiny corrupt clique. Censorship, the physical diminishing of public institutions, ranging from schools and libraries to courts and medical facilities. The incessant bombardment by electronic hallucinations. Here we go. The incessant bombardment by electronic hallucinations to divert us from the depressing sight that has become America and keep us trapped in illusions. Please see I Feel Pretty by Amy Schumer. We suffer the usual pathologies of impending death. I would be happy to be wrong, but I have seen this before. I know the warning signs. All I can say is get ready. And I think that should lead us to our next sponsor. Mm-hmm. That's a perfect tie-in to our next sponsor, Roo Cheese. Roo
Which, by the
cheese.
way, after it's all over, will be the only food left.
That could be. And here we go, Roo Cheese. So you just heard it. I just read you Chris Hedges' latest article in Truthdig called The Coming Collapse. Now, I know a lot of people will be like, Eddie, why are you fucking depressing us? Eddie, why are you fucking making me scared? I think we should face reality. What do you think about that? I mean, what do you think about the Hedges piece? Because Matt, our producer, Matt Rasamoto, who writes our commercials, he was like, Jesus, don't ever let me read Hedges in the morning.
Right.
He said the morning because he gets anxiety in the morning. I say, when do you want to fucking read it? When is the best time to read that article? Twilight?
Alone?
Dusk?
First of all, alone. Alone. Not with other people in the room.
What do you
out
think
loud.
about, like, though, really putting this in people's faces?
I don't think it's as bleak as Hedges says.
Everybody says that.
No.
But I say that he has seen it before, and I believe him. He's a Pulitzer Prize winner.
He's a brilliant guy, and he's on to it. He's
trying to wake people up.
I want to
Why
see.
don't you
because
think
I
this-
saw 50,000 people filling stadiums to hear Bernie Sanders speak. So there are people out there. It's not just people going to see.
How is that going to stop what's happening?
I don't know how it's going to stop what's happening, but I know I'm not alone.
Bernie Sanders got undermined by the DNC
it's not
and the
just
Hillaristas.
It's not just you and me. It's not just you and me anymore
Right.
who see the world.
So in
this
other
way.
words, you're saying the good in people will overcome, like will somehow overcome this impending.
I hope the population will have the pretense beaten out of it before the impending. Before we reach the precipice. Maybe he's right. Maybe we've already gone past the precipice. And
the people I know who are quote unquote liberals are really thinking that that Hedges is talking about it. They are thinking that, oh no, all we need are the Democrats in office.
They
and
call
Hedges is saying they're the fucking ones who are complicit in this. They're just another part of the corporate wing.
He's right. There has to be a breaking up of the blue and red team. They got to go.
We need a third party.
By the way, most people aren't for the blue and red team. But if you were to turn on mainstream news, you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that. It's Fox versus MSN.
Should we get to Roo Cheese? Because
No.
they're a great...
Wait, you asked me.
Okay.
And now I'm lost it, so go ahead with Roo Cheese.
You lost it? Okay.
Yeah.
Roo Cheese. Roo Cheese is a family favorite. I think this is just a good company to read to you when you know our society is over. Roo Cheese is a family favorite. Everyone loves the flavor of the cheese that comes from a kangaroo's pouch. We know that there is a lot of competition in the marsupial cheese market. But not only is Roo Cheese the original, but it is also the winner of 9 international marsupial dairy awards covering the delicious marsupial spectrum of opossum, mole, and wombat cheeses.
That mole cheese is good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever had mole cheese on a cracker while watching I Feel Pretty? Amy Chu?
Ozark. I watch it while I eat it while I eat
Not
watch
the same.
Ozark.
If you love the fine quality marsupial cheeses, then you will love our gourmet selection, perfect for any dinner party or sampling at home with a little wine while looking blankly at a wall, contemplating the dark choices you have made while attempting to scrape together a semblance of success. Let me read that to you again, because this is the point of Roo Cheese. If you love fine quality marsupial cheeses, then you will love our gourmet selection, perfect for any dinner party or sampling at home with a little wine while looking blankly at a wall, contemplating the dark choices you have made while attempting to scrape together a semblance of success. Is that speaking to you? It's speaking to me.
Speaking in a whisper.
Our blue cheese pairs playfully with a Shiraz while reminding you that life... I'm sorry, the Roo Cheese people, they're a playful bunch, and their cheese pairs playfully with Shiraz. But let me get through this, because It's painful and it's good. Our blue cheese pairs playfully with a Shiraz. Our blue cheese pairs playfully with a Shiraz, while reminding you that life is ultimately a worthless struggle. For when you step into the beyond, your story will be at best remembered only by your enemies. For those of you, you know what? Roo Cheese tells it like it is, and that's why it's a cheese for today's, debt bubble society. A cheese for a society that's hypnotized by electronic hallucinations. A society where the militarized police force and the Pentagon that starts these feudal and wars they can't pay for. This is the cheese for you.
Roo Blue is very good while you watch episodes of The Office, Community. What was that one with Tina Fey that she had? That
30 Rock?
Yeah, that show. Roo Blue is really good on a cracker.
For those of you soft cheese lovers, our brie snuggles warmly around a Merlot like a bath towel noose over a curtain rod because, let's face it, let me tell you something. This laughter is born of intense knowledge and pain of our impending doom. I wish this could be a podcast where we're fixing a radio.
We have no skills to teach anybody.
We have no skills. That's why we read from other people's articles. For those of you soft cheese lovers, our brie snuggles warmly around a Merlot like a bath towel noose over a curtain rod. Because, let's face it, whatever waits for us after death sounds like a blessed release from our own self.
Eddie, can you read that again?
I have to
I
read
want
it
you to get through that,
because
Eddie.
I don't want
can't
Roo
get through
Cheese.
that
I don't want Roo Cheese to drop us because we're kind of a radical. We say things that aren't said on typical podcasts. Like you won't hear, I don't know, anything on NPR talk about, the fact that, the Pentagon and Wall Street.
You know what? You're just diverting the fact that you gave me shit for not being able to get through my fucking paragraph.
Well, I'm
so
doing it because it's so, I'm laughing. Yours was ineptitude. Let me try this one more time. For those of you soft cheese lovers, our brie snuggles warmly around a Merlot like a bath towel noose over a curtain rod because, let's face it, whatever waits for us after death sounds like a blessed release from our own self-inflicted horrors. and our marsupial cheddar mix is equally comfortable with red or white wines, although admittedly a little nutty. So have fun and bring a little Roo Cheese to the party. All right. Sorry about that, Roo Cheese. I just, I laugh sometimes about that stuff. By the way, I wrote a couple of L.A. That was Matt Rasamoto, who writes our commercials, our podcast producer. And,
good job, Matt.
And no, I mean, he gets these sponsors and he types out the copy, and he does a good job. I want to say, I wrote a couple of promos for LA, and tell me if you like these promos. Are unaffordable rents and over-congestion your thing? Sprinkle in insecure, desperate actors and Hollywood shark scum, and have we got a town for you. LA, it's waiting for you. The homelessness is to die for. And then I wrote another one. Come to L.A. If the murderous traffic doesn't appeal to you, then surely the year-long deadly wildfires will. Showbiz seals the deal with its pandering to everything corporate and mediocre in our culture. Come on, make it L.A. And I wrote
snacks and treats.
And I wrote one dystopian commercial. I kind of have a runner with this product. And then I'll shut up and we'll end it.
End it all.
Maybe. Our peace of mind as a nation has been shattered forever by heartless oligarchs and their henchmen. Blood will run in the streets and no one will be safe. Isn't it time you tried a Snickers? Now, you know, I wrote that because, and I write that shit because that is really kind of what it comes down to. The corporate landscape, like we're bombarded. We're bombarded with this corporate speak, aren't we?
Nobody
like,
makes it funnier than you, Eddie.
No, but we're bombarded with like, you know, like you think, like, have you ever seen these Verizon commercials with fucking Thomas Middleditch? How horrible are they, by the
Middleditch?
way?
There's some who?
It's Thomas Middleditch from Silicon Valley, and he's just shilling for Verizon, and they're so unfunny.
Oh yeah, the redheaded the C-3PO motherfucker.
By the way, if you want to leave us a message, the number is 424-262-0904. 462-262-0904. I'll be at the Comedy Store all week this week.
Really?
Well, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I will be. I'll be in the main room a couple of times, the original room. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. That would be, what are we, May 20? What are we? May what?
May 22nd?
22nd. We don't know because we don't really work much.
No.
People, and over the half of the country.
Nobody's working, so don't worry about it. Join us for nothing.
So I'll be at the store. What else? My one-man show. I'm waiting to hear about my one-man show, In the End of Days. I think you would love it. It's played 3 times here at the Lyric Hyperion in Silver Lake, L.A. In the End of Days. And right now we're going to see if it's going to the Montreal Comedy Festival. We don't know. And I might do a run of it in New York, Portland, you know, places that would be amenable to it. And you're performing in Long Beach at the Wrigley Chew. But they feed people there, right?
Everybody, you know, they let anybody in who needs food, basically. It's a soup kitchen with a comedy show. Kind of like the Laugh Factory on Thanksgiving.
Any final thoughts? I mean, final thoughts. And it could be about anything. Like I mean, I know that Hedges article is...
I'm not as bleak. I don't quite see it quite as bleak. I mean, he knows more than I do, but I think there's a hopefulness in the fact that people aren't... Young people know they're fucked. I think there's actually a hopefulness in the fact that young people know they're fucked. And that they're filling stadiums to hear Bernie Sanders speak. And that even you
But
hear...
Sanders is not going to be running.
No, but it's not
And Ted
just...
Berrigan, another great social activist, the Berrigan family, he said if elections worked, they would not be legal.
It's not about Bernie Sanders, man. It's about what he represents, that there's an actual left. That it's not just me at home yelling at my fucking social media that nobody sees it the way I do.
Right.
And now there's 50,000 people filling stadiums who see it the way I do.
Right.
And that's hopeful. I think that's hopeful. You know, whether we can get these boutique solar panels on top of a gas station to give up their blue team dream, or these libertarian fucks who think that all social welfare should be, you know, done away with, to realize that it's actually corporatism that's fucking them in the ass. How fast these two can get together, I don't know. But I'm a little more hopeful than Chris
Did you see any
Hedges.
funny things this week? Did you see any funny
I forgot
things?
about all of them during the Hedges article.
Oh, no? Yeah, you didn't see any, like, funny stuff on the street? We should have a segment after reading.
I did.
Like,
Actually, I went to
Hedges
the
article
I went to
called
the
funny stuff on the street.
I went to the Solo premiere. I went to the premiere of Han Solo.
Oh, how was it?
Not great. It was okay. You know, I don't understand why they're making all the Chris Pratt motherfuckers Han Solo.
Because what?
They're all the Han Solo motherfuckers they're casting with these Chris Pratt guys. These Chris Pratt guys.
I don't even know what that
Guardians of the
sentence
Galaxy.
means. There's only one.
No,
Han
the guy
Solo.
who plays Han Solo is like a Chris Pratt motherfucker. He's not like Han Solo. There's nothing Han Solo-ish about him. So that's a problem with the movie.
Han Solo was Harrison Ford originally,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So are you saying you're married to the Harrison Ford version?
Yeah, because that was like who did you grow up watching?
Harrison Ford.
You didn't grow up watching Harrison Ford. You grew up watching fucking Sean Connery as James Bond, right?
We're not talking about James Bond, asshole. We're talking about Han Solo.
Yeah, but I'm asking what your formative guy that you grew up thinking was cool. That's what I'm asking. Because for me, it was Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones and Han Solo.
Who was the first guy?
Yeah, who was
I
the
thought
guy
was
you
cool.
emulated? Like, there had to be a guy.
Well, I always was partial to mathematicians. Like, I loved what Archimedes and physicists. I love what Archimedes did in the tub with displaced water. I think more kids should get into, cool people being intelligent, brilliant scientists. Like, Da Vinci was not only a painter, but he was an amazing scientist and inventor. And I think a lot of kids should be in gangs called the Da Vinci fucks, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, we'll cut you.
Come out, Da Vinci fucks.
No, but did you see? So, what did you see that was funny on the street? Like,
So I was waiting in the lobby for my buddy who brought me to this movie. And this Asian guy comes up behind me and he goes, "Are you waiting for the actors?" And I turned to him and I looked at him and I go, "Yeah, they come right off the screen. They're going to come out here and join us." I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He goes, "No, the actors, the celebrities sometimes come to the..." It was so fucking bizarre. Would you go up to a single guy waiting in a lobby and ask
it
him in a
depends
movie?
on what my intent was. If I looking for action,
You've done that.
I might go in an Asian accent that you so beautifully did. Excuse me. Are you waiting for anything? But you were so taken aback that this gentleman, I don't know why you had to describe his nationality or ethnicity, but you were so taken aback by this fellow saying, "Are you waiting for the actors?" Were you because it was a movie house? And like it was so like it wasn't a theater, obviously.
Yes.
So he was like, do you think that this guy is so disillusioned that he thought that the movie
Eddie.
people would be coming?
These are the people that you don't realize. These are the people that are out there.
Now, where was this?
It was at the ArcLight in Hollywood.
Oh, well, you would think that would be kind of a hip crowd. Oh, but the ArcLight, maybe though, and the ArcLight has this a lot, and you know this. The ArcLight in Hollywood, like, kind of the like main it has the Cinerama Dome, which is the round theater. There's a lot of actors and directors who come there and do Q&As. You know that.
This wasn't a Q&A. There were no Q&As going on in this one this night.
TNA?
It was just press screening.
I'm not here for the Q&A. I'm
wait.
here for the TNA.
Can you
do you know when that started?
Can you repeat that Asian question that you just... You gotta edit that. That's gotta be... That was incredible, dude. Anything.
Yeah.
Are you waiting for anything?
You waiting for anything? So that's the only funny thing. That really wasn't on the street because this segment I want to call "Have you seen anything funny?"
Fuck you. That
On
was
the
funny.
street.
It was funny for me.
I guess it was funny that
I
the
couldn't
guy
translate it. I could. It was fucked up.
Yeah. What did I see? There was funny. You know what I see people using their dogs in cars as little. There was this husky sitting like through a sunroof. I love how people when they use. I don't love this, but when they have their animals like oh look at me. In New York, it would be a guy with the parrot walking down, like a guy with the parrot on his shoulder.
Really?
A big toucan. Parrot on his shoulder, and this guy was famous. If people know what I'm talking about, in the village, he would walk around in the village with a huge toucan parrot, beautiful green parrot on his shoulder, just to be like, look at me. And here they have here in LA, they have like big dogs sticking their heads through sunroofs and driving around like, look at me, look at my.
Like the dog is driving the car, basically.
It's just a visual that they go for.
They don't do it in New York as much as here.
They don't drive as much.
No, that's true.
This is a driving culture out here.
I don't know. I don't notice that. I noticed the dog out the window, but not through the sunroof.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know. Since this is a segment called Have You Seen Anything Funny on the Street? That's why I saw that on the street, whereas yours was inside.
Oh.
Inside the ArcLight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Neither one are really funny, but we tried. We gave it a...
Right. It wasn't so funny. It was sort of like, what the fuck? Why do you have your dog as a visual appendage to your ride? You know what I mean?
You think it was part of the image, huh? It was part of the image of that guy's... It was part of his... A
little bit.
He felt cooler because he had the dog
a little bit
on the lookout.
All right, folks. Well, that's our podcast. We'd like to end it on a down note. We like to end it on a segment I call, let's not have this segment work. Let's do a segment that is kind of like, it doesn't really hit. Let's end it like that. All right. Well, let's see. Let's want to thank ATC Comedy. Please read Chris Hedges. See Steve in Long Beach. What day is that?
Saturday night.
This Saturday night. He has no idea what the date is.
I don't actually. What
but
is
it's
the
this
date?
Saturday.
25th?
And if you're listening to this a couple of months down the road, it still will be this Saturday.
Fuck off.
And I'll be at the Comedy Store
You will
this
be.
Friday, Saturday,
And Sunday,
And that will be May, I believe, 25, 26, and 27. All right, everybody, thank you, and we'll see you next time on Pep Talks.